Bocchetti across America.
Ooh.
Tim loved this thing, but you know why? But there's video to it as well, right? It would start with me going, like we have a friend that's a roof, Sal's a carpenter, right? And other friends that do various things. Like how regular people and like especially yourself are thrilled with you because people know you're a celebrity.
Right.
And regular people just go to work every day, have no idea what it really is. And people see you fans go, oh, you know what I mean? They're regular people, right?
Okay.
So there were a lot of jobs I could never do as a regular job. So one day I'd go with a traffic cop and see how long that lasted.
That's awesome.
But all jobs that I couldn't do at all. Like I'd talk to Carl, teach me how to cook something, Carl.
Right.
You know
Listen to how he pitches me the show, though. So he calls me up one day and he's like, I'm trying to pitch Tim Sabian this thing. He goes, so since our friend Pat's a roofer, you're a carpenter, he's like, we'll go to your house now. Pat will go up on the roof. Don't worry about it. And then he goes, but I can't get up there. And I was like, my insurance, Mike, you're not going anywhere near my roof.
Of course.
No, but the thing is, like, and then it would be a carpenter 1 week, have me come on the show and see my version, how I thought it went, and then really come on.
Right.
But across America, one week could be a cop,
I like that idea.
fireman.
For real.
But the thing is, I think it would be good for audio, video as well.
Do you have any
I
batteries?
love the picture for TV.
Mike, you got batteries?
I might have these. Let me see. If
No,
you
I'm so sorry.
You have batteries? Just in case.
So that's just a microphone, huh?
Yeah,
This is my portable unit. I love it because it gives you freedom to move around.
Oh, just want to plug it in? I have a plug.
Yeah, definitely. The wiring here is perfect.
I have a plug. You want one of these batteries?
I was excited to see you were coming back. I was paying attention to your
Oh, thanks,
Twitter
buddy.
and stuff. I gotta say though, you did nail me one day. I was really a little annoyed because you were on the beach, right? And you're playing the old O&A music. I was like, holy shit, and you fucking got me. You got me.
This new guest.
Yeah.
I was watching the whole video.
People love that video.
One thing I'm annoyed about, right, is how many people you helped in this thing. Am I right or wrong, right?
Yeah.
That the fucking national headliners are even big now.
Yeah.
They're fucking idiots now. They're fucking scumbags in this business.
Well, how about you say that on the air?
I will.
All right, let me take a leak and we'll do some podcasting.
No, you know what?
Hell,
It's,
you know,
it's
honestly,
not right. I mean, how many people?
Oh, good.
You could. There's an army of people that are fucking selling out.
You mind? Here, this.
Okay.
You should sign them.
You can sell
We'll
those.
sell them on
Okay.
eBay.
No, but I swear to God, there's an army of people that are national headliners and bigger than that.
Yeah.
That fucking turn their back, they're douchebags.
Stop saying that right away.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't really give a shit. You know why? There's certain people that want to let in this business and certain people that don't.
I know.
What do you do tech stuff? That's great though.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm a cop, actually.
Oh,
My real
nice.
job. Yeah.
In the city?
NYPD, yeah.
Nice. My cousin, my whole family is law enforcement.
Yeah. I
In the
work
city,
in the
it's
Intel
phenomenal.
division in Brooklyn.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, in Brooklyn, I work in the Intel division.
My cousin worked in the 70th precinct.
Yeah, I work out of the 94th precinct, Greenpoint, in Brooklyn.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That place used to be fucking like the Warriors.
Yeah, and I just kept hitting Opa up, and then I asked for some help, and I've been helping out with the pod now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good,
God
man.
bless you, man, because I could never be a cop. I wanted to be when I was young, but I would have been Tackleberry, for sure. You know what I mean? Like when they still had 38 specials.
Yeah, of course.
I would have had 44 Magnum strapped to my waist, you know. God bless you, man. And the city, like I said, is still kind of sketchy here and there.
Yeah, of course. There's still a lot of
So-
shitty parts.
I'm gonna use this because I could just do this with me and Mike.
Can I say that?
But
I
if
don't-
you want,
I really don't
if you
care.
want to mic me, so you guys record some shit, that's
This
fine.
records the whole table.
And it's good quality.
Yeah, I was surprised by that, but it does. It records the whole table.
I just want to say what I thought. It's okay, right?
You sure you don't hear someone in the distance?
I don't think so.
That's awesome.
Because
You know about that, Mike?
when we do it live, he
What?
sits here in between us, and the
Hey,
audio
you
file
wanna
sounds
make
good.
sure you're on.
I'm good. I'm sure you'll be back before you start.
No, but the thing is, I'm going to say it because I've been dicked over by people in this. And I don't care.
Right.
It's not right. You know what I mean? Because people in this business pretend they're your friends. Am I right or wrong?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You know what? I'm just gonna check the mic to make sure the sound's good. All right. So
Like, I'll
give me
give you an
one sec.
example, right? Like people that book the clubs in the city or like right now.
Yeah.
Everybody comics kiss their asses, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
The minute that these idiots fucking don't book it, they don't want to fucking know them from Adam.
Right. Yeah. Let's talk about this on the show.
And the guys that you have,
Open up with the yeah.
that like the people you have, I love Vic Henry. I love Sherrod. Carl's a good guy, right? They're all nice people. They're not they're not douchebags like a lot of fucking people are, and that's.
I appreciate that. I'm just looking at.
No, but the thing is, it's like being in the mafia in this business. You gotta fucking keep your enemies closer than your friends.
That's it. That's true though.
It's horrible. I mean, when you started out, right? When did you start out? If I don't mind asking.
Me? In
Yeah.
radio? Like, in the 80s.
Wow.
I started out at 18 years old.
Wow. I started comedy in I started in 89 at Dabble. I started officially in 92.
Wow. Yeah,
It's a lot different.
I understand. Let me, hold on, let me just do this. This is all good stuff for the podcast, actually.
Is it okay? I don't care. I'll fucking let people have this. I have no qualms about it. I'm sorry for getting like this, but I really don't like what happened.
Should
I'm just, I don't want to get that on anything. I want to just make sure you sound all right.
As long as we can get you on, that's the important thing. Okay. All right. As long as we can. I'm not afraid to speak out either. People are so afraid of this. This isn't 1930s Hollywood anymore.
Okay, here we go. You ready?
Yes.
I'm just going to work on this.
Okay.
It sounds good. And,
All right.
let me turn this up.
Okay.
Let me give you a little volume there. Okay, so we have finally settled down at Mike Bocchetti's house. Thanks once again for having us, Mikey.
Thank you, guys. We've got my friend Sal here with Opie. Thank you. Mike is with us. He's a cool guy too. It was fun, man.
Your mom's a treat.
My mom was a trip.
She really is a trip. What's her story? How did she meet your dad?
Oh, I think he won her in a crap game. No, I'm only kidding.
The dog didn't like that.
No, they met at
I think the dog is pissed off at the steak you guys just served them.
No, they met at a blind date,
Grateful
actually.
fuck.
Like, they met at a blind date.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I was told.
Mom, I just cursed in your house. I'm really sorry.
What did you do?
I cursed. I apologize.
Oh, that's it. That's throwing you out.
She's going to throw me out, she
No,
said.
she
She's
won't
yelling
throw
from
me
the top of the stairs, Mike.
She may say a couple of roaches on your behalf.
I'll do a Hail Mary, I promise. All right, we're good.
She should like that because, what was I saying now? I forgot.
Blind date.
Oh, blind date. And my dad was from my mom was from Manhattan originally, right? My dad was from Staten Island, but on the North Shore. Staten Island, have you guys been out here that much or no?
No, Staten Island is a really strange place because it's not easy to get to. So a lot of New Yorkers don't really go to Staten Island.
Sal can tell you about how it is out here too.
I love it.
No, but it's like in certain areas it's still a scene from Donnie Brasco, and then certain areas on the North Shore, it's Boys in the Hood, and then we have hipsters now by the ferry dome.
You know what's annoying is a lot of people shit, especially all the comics, they always shit on Staten Island. But we have a place to park in front of our house. We got trees, parks, American flags outside the house.
Backyards.
You know?
Yeah.
Backyards.
Backyard. I was just in Mike's backyard.
And the comedy scene is growing on Staten Island. We've done so many local shows, and we have a festival in September. Several venues on Staten Island. All of a sudden, a lot of the city comics are submitting they want to come out here. So
Yeah, and Sal does the podcast with Mike Bocchetti. I noticed you didn't fully commit to the neck tattoo.
I fully committed when I was 21, and I spent $50 on it. I was on drugs back then. I was 20, and I've spent $600 so far in tattoo removals.
Oh, really?
That's why it's fading. Yeah.
Oh, so it was a full neck tattoo.
It was just said the word, but it was a lot darker. It's so stupid, right?
What was the word?
It says free, Opie.
Yeah.
He's a badass though. Sal was in the military for real.
I could tell. I kind of sized up Sal when I got in this house.
Did you?
It was no joke, yeah.
No, he was like a parrot jumping out of planes, so he'll kill you with a fucking butter knife. I love him.
Jeez, Mike.
I knew some real badasses, you
I
know.
was being a little obnoxious, but let's.
No, I love the military because I was a fake military guy. He'll fucking kill you with a fucking penknife.
Well, Mike says he was a fake military guy because he went to training in the Marines and then left early, right? I didn't finish my term either. You know, I was kicked out for alcohol rehabilitation failure. You know, I'm okay today, but I was fucked up back
Yeah,
then.
but he was jumping out of planes. I can't even jump up a stepladder. You know?
Yeah, the Marines got mad on the old radio show when you talked
Oh
about
yeah, I want to
your
talk
time.
about them.
You know what?
Simplified guys, hoorah guys, kill some more people first and keep us safe. I'm serious, right? They keep us safe, and so all the military does.
That's how I met Mike. He was on your radio show, and somebody asked if they could reach him. He said, go on Facebook. And I had just gotten sober at the time, and I had just started doing comedy and podcasting. It was like, he's that accessible. So I reached out to him. He canceled on me for 6 months. And then a year and a half later, when I hooked up with Greg and Rob Cardizone, they're two local comics, they reached out to him. He came down, and now we're together. We're working, doing comedy together and podcasting, and it's been great.
Good
It's
for
been
you,
fun.
man.
I like But the thing is, like I was saying earlier, I think what happened to you was a fucking travesty in this.
Oh, you think?
No, I'm
I'm
serious.
now hanging out in your house. What do you think?
No, I mean that
The
sincerely.
yapping dog that wants to bite me on
No,
the ankle.
I mean that sincerely.
No, thanks, Mike. All kidding aside, I was devastated when they let me go at Sirius.
No,
you're free now.
more devastating is that I can for an hour at least, I could name people that are national headliners now and bigger. People who are on TV, all the movies, the millionaires themselves now that just fucking went.
What do you
Turn
mean?
their back on you. They're like, you know,
Not
like,
only-
oh, he don't have this, bad mouth, or saying all kinds of fucking nonsense and stuff, right? And you know what? I
Yeah,
hate
what
this
do you
business
think
so
that's
much sometimes.
What do you think that's about, Mike? Because look, I'm not completely innocent. Obviously, we all have our issues, and we've done things to people. So, all right, fair enough. So some of the stuff, you know, is justified. But why do you think that, like, so many people have now decided they have to stab me in the back and talk shit about me now that I don't have this big radio show? What do you think it's about?
People are super self-absorbed in this business because it's about what can you do for me lately? That's the main thing. And it's like, like I said, my friends in this are who I like as people. I don't care. If someone's famous and an asshole, I don't want to be a friend of them. I don't care what they can do for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I like you as a person, you're my friend. Most people like a chess game, like, oh, he can get me to this, that guy will do this, they'll do that. No, it's about having great work done, keeping your mouth shut, and getting along with everybody you can.
So it's safe to say a lot of those relationships I had over the years were not real, huh?
It depends who it is. Some
It
guys,
was real because I had the big show, and then the show goes away. I really have found out who my true friends are.
Oh, yeah.
And I found out what a lot of these people are made of. I still have plenty of friends.
Of
you
course.
Know, and a
Have
bunch
any of those guys stuck around since? Because from a fan's point of view, and when it became just Opie Radio, your show became the only show I was listening to, even though I was fans of everybody else. And I couldn't figure out in my head, as somebody who's just a fan and then following the YouTube shit, what they would say about you on the other side, and then what you were trying to say. Was any of the shit true? Like, that you were just always an asshole behind the scenes? You know, as a fan, I don't know.
I mean, I unfortunately played the role of boss, so that comes with a lot of tough things you got to do. I hired most of the people. I had to fire most of the people. I had to deal with everyone's issues at Sirius XM. And those guys, all they had to do was show up and be funny on the radio and leave immediately.
You know,
I was the one that was taking all the meetings. So
it's like you've been an agent, a manager,
well, some of it,
producer, you know what I mean? It's
yeah,
like,
and some of it was certainly some of it was true, but also it's based on very, very old information. I realized a long time ago that I kind of had an anger problem. Like I would be frustrated with people around me, and I would yell and scream. Who doesn't? Thank you. But I would yell and scream to try to get my way and try to get my point across. Realize when you do that, even though you know you're right with what you're saying, no one's going to listen to you. They think you're complete and utter asshole.
How are they taking it? And you know where I related to you? Was because when I started, I mean, obviously your show is a behemoth, and my podcast is like a little speck of sand. Well, I started my podcast, it was just me. And then after a year or so, I met with these other comics networking, and then I started working with them. But now there's more voices at the table. So it's like when Opie created his show back in the day. Now he's got Anthony on with him. Now Jim Norton comes. Sometimes other people on the show, they start clicking together, and then I could see, or maybe even hear, now you're sitting there like, this is my show. I also want to bring my show in a certain direction, but sometimes the guy steering the ship, sometimes the sails are blowing different ways, and I could see where a lot of your frustration came from sometimes.
Yeah.
You're trying to go here, and then other people at the table are pulling it this way. You know what I mean? So I saw a lot of times where you were kind of like, all right, this conversation, you know.
Wow, Sal's really smart.
He's
Mike.
I go through it.
Stick with this guy.
I go through it.
No, because that's a really good point, and I'll admit this today too. Like when you have three guys, there's always going to be two that are tighter than more. How do I say this? You're always going to have two that are
Heckle and Jekyll.
you're going to have two that are tighter, and I was definitely the odd man out.
Right, sometimes we
Because
get...
Jimmy and Ant got really close and bonded, and maybe at that point, they should have just kind of moved on and done their own thing.
And it's not to say it's a bad thing, but I can see where when it's your show and you're going, well, these two people are closer. And I used to, as a fan, listen, and you would go, okay, well, maybe in a year we don't continue with this. And we just go our own ways and do our own things. And as a selfish fan, I was going, no, fucking don't break it up. But I get why now you're like, in a peaceful way, I'm going to go do my thing and have fun, and you could go do your thing and have fun.
Well, the interesting thing about that, I get a lot of hate that I was the one that broke up Opie and Anthony. I never broke up Opie and Anthony. Anthony got fired.
But what about them saying you could have fought for Anthony more?
We absolutely fought for Anthony. I mean, he likes to spin that now. We also were under contract, so we couldn't leave right away. They were threatening us with all sorts of stuff.
I don't think you should have left because of the contract thing. But I mean,
Anthony never asked me to join him when he was fired. When he was fired,
even when you
he
made
wasn't,
the video,
if he wasn't fired, the Opie and Anthony brand would have continued in some way.
When you made the video about, it kind of was misleading that you were going to be Anthony's new co-host, but then you told us no, I'm not before Artie came on. In my head, I was thinking, did Anthony ever ask him and Opie just didn't want to go? Did that ever happen? Did he ever offer you to that spot?
I was offered to go over to Compound Media through Keith. Me and Anthony officially never. Well, no. Then Ant sort of reached out and said it would be cool, but at that point, it wasn't the right place for me because I needed to move on and do my own thing. And it was at this point, it was years have gone by since the O&A show. So I took it very seriously, and in the end, I'm like, that's just not the place for me. Nothing against those guys over there, but I want to do a whole different thing. And somehow that spun into now I really got to hate you even more.
You know when you turned me? Because I didn't know who to like more or whatever.
But I don't care who people like more.
No, I know
that's
you
not
don't.
coming
But
from
I
me.
want to say, when your point of view, you don't want to deal with that though. And I see a lot of fans, they pick sides.
It's ridiculous.
And as a fan of both, there was a day you turned me. I remember it was when it was towards the end of Opie and Jim, and one day you just said it all. It was like an hour long, and you talked about when you said Anthony didn't even when he left your wedding, or when you said he hasn't even met my second kid. Right. I remember it was my wife used to hate when I would just play the show all the time because she doesn't want to hear it all. But I remember that day, even she was quiet. We were listening together. I was like, listen to this. Like, the real shit's coming out. And I was like, you know what? I could see it from Opie's point of view at this point, after 20 years. You haven't seen his kid. You left the wedding. I just got married a year ago. If one of my people I've known for 20 years just got up and took some of the wedding and left,
right?
What the fuck is that?
Wow, Sal's bringing up some dirt. I was deeply hurt because we got married in Philly at the Ritz-Carlton, and Ant decided that was a perfect weekend to plan a trip to Atlantic City. So not only did he not stay for plates, plates. Yeah. They didn't stay for the main part of the wedding because they moved on to Atlantic City, and he brought a whole bunch of the staff with him. So not only did he leave, he left with a whole bunch of people and thought this was the perfect time to go to Atlantic City.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I can't say who's right or wrong in any of it, but just when you explain that situation, all I see is if I was sitting at the dais, like people standing up, you're pretty much saying I have something more important to do than the most important moment in Opie's life.
100%.
Yeah.
So, but I did fight for him. He thinks I didn't fight for him enough.
Yeah, but there's always so much you can do because you know how brutal the suits. The suits are fucking brutal animals.
But he was already building his home studio. He left. He got fired. We talked a little bit, and there was no conversations in there. Why don't we try to do this on our own for my new studio? It never came up.
Wow.
So for me to get all the hate for bringing up the O&A show, it's just simply not true.
I could see if you didn't fight for him. I could see why though. Once again, putting myself in your shoes. If I wasn't getting along so great with somebody, this was kind of a natural way to let you go do your own thing from now on. And who could blame you for feeling that way? It wasn't you actually blowing the show up. Sirius was doing it for you. So if that did happen, what you're saying it did, and you fought for him, I would be like, I wouldn't fault the guy for doing that,
I fought for all my guys many, many times. Jimmy knows how many times I fought for him. Anthony knows how many times I fought for him. When me and Anthony got back, when me and Anthony started, and he literally didn't know anything about this business, he was a quick learner and really knows what he's doing. I'll give props when it's necessary. But when we moved to Boston, I was the radio guy, and he was in air conditioning, but a natural talent.
He's like me, a blue-collar worker who wants to break it. I always saw that and was like, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's why people really could relate to Anthony, of course. And then we go up to Boston, and we had this PD, Dave Douglas, and he pulled me, and knows this story, pulls me aside and was feeling me out. He's like, why Anthony? In the break room. I go, what do you mean, why Anthony? You were listening to the show? Why are you even asking that question? That's ridiculous. But he was feeling me out because he wanted to get rid of Anthony at the time. And I went to Bruce Mittman and basically said, what is Dave Douglas doing? He doesn't see the chemistry and how we got a good thing going on here. But Anthony knows that story, so he knows I stuck up for him all those years.
That's what the suits did to me on DirecTV, Audie told me, because they were like, he's not right for this, all kinds of shit. But the thing is, like, when I had an argument with Audie, the fans ganged up on me. You know what I mean? They were like, "Oh, Audie's a legend." I'm like, "Why can't I be?" You know what I mean? They're just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, all the heroin deals are like, shut up, Mike. He's our best customer.
No, what we said about earlier about yelling at people is, I'd rather be yelled at, right, than have fucking people cut my throat.
Yeah, well,
any day.
I should-
Yeah, but I want to hear honesty.
No, I should finish that though. So then I knew that was one of my issues. I've worked on a lot of my issues over the years, and I'm like, you can't yell at anyone anymore. No, everyone just looks at you like you're a complete and utter asshole.
It's just
So-
a projection of whatever you're going through.
Yeah, so that's really old news. The days when I was kind of an asshole to people around me, because
Yeah, but
there was
maybe
pure
some-
frustration,
maybe
and it was also
sometimes
pure
people deserve it
frustration.
too, though, right?
There was
I
also
mean-
pure frustration that I was the one that had to
All
deal
that
with
shit on your
all
back.
that crap.
Because at the end of the day, your name's on the show. It's coming back on you.
Right.
So I get that. You know.
But I'll say this, and then we can move on to other things. I wish those guys nothing but the best. I've taken some shots here and there, of course, because I get an avalanche of hate coming from.
The net is horrible. I fucking hate
Coming
Brady
from,
Gold. The
coming
net
from,
was shit.
honestly, coming from Anthony. If you told me all these years later that that the majority of the hate toward me would be coming from the guy that we did a radio show together, I would say you're insane.
Well, you were quiet for the longest. And I remember thinking, like, this stuff's coming out from that side. Why isn't Opie saying anything? And then finally, I guess you felt like you had to say
You had to
something.
say something.
And you finally
Right.
said everything that happened. And it's like, okay, here it all is. But I heard Jim Norton say something one day. He said, Opie wasn't saying things on the air about it, but that's why a lot of stuff never came out about how he was behind the scenes. So what I'm not gonna...
But Jimmy was no treat behind the scenes. Anthony was no treat behind the scenes.
sure.
They know. I mean, I don't want to go. I don't want to. I mean, we already went into the mud, but I mean, the fact is, most of the hate's coming from over there. I respond when I have to, but I'm just moving on. I know the Opie and Anthony show is really important to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, still
It's
is.
important to radio in general.
Yeah, I understand that, and I take that very seriously. But I also like living in the present, which I'm doing now. And for some reason, other people associated with the radio show they just don't want to let it go.
Laura.
Well, when I ask you these questions, Opie, and I thank you for taking the questions, it's only because, not that you're talking about anybody right now, it's as a fan, hey, this is questions as a fan. Sometimes you had comics come on and other people who are familiar with the show who got to talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
This is kind of what the fans want to know, and it's awesome that we all get to talk about it.
Well, thanks for nothing, Sal. No, I don't mind talking about it, but I also I just want to move on.
Yeah.
I just want
Yeah,
And
but
you
you
did.
have to, because you know why? That's the only way things are going to change, because, like...
Well, I also hate the people that say, well, they're fighting with each. I'm not fighting with anybody. Like on a regular basis, they're taking shots at me, and every once in a while, I'll comment.
You know
on
what it
something.
is? It feeds the media. I hate social media, because the only thing I really like having is a cell phone, right? Twitter, Reddit, Facebook are full of fucking morons that are assholes. They're fucking Twitter warriors, you know what I mean? If you got them in a house, they'd be living in the same basement I am, asking their mom for ice cream money.
Well, I said it on an earlier podcast. Like fighting with someone on Twitter is like fighting a ghost.
No, you're right. Because
You can't
I
do it.
want to lunge at them, though, and fucking kill them in the house. You know?
And they love hearing this, but it is the truth. You will never win
No.
if you take on a hater. You will never win. They'll
Why can't you
win
just
every
invent a
single
device
time.
that'll stalk them down, though? You know what I mean?
One reason why they'll win is because they'll just simply lie and make
Oh,
up
yeah.
all sorts of shit about you, which you know is not true, and you're like, I can't compete with that shit.
Before we move on from this stuff, can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
Just, all right, so when you left and then Jim and Sam took over the morning show, right? You said that they fucked you. They claimed no, it just was the natural progression of things. Was it? Did they really do anything? 'Cause I don't know. Did they really do anything to usurp your position and take it?
Me and Jimmy had the same agent at the time.
So was it your agent's fuck up? Thinking, hey,
Well,
let me go with these guys?
I wasn't happy that he was also representing the show that was replacing me. And there was some dirty shit that was happening. Absolutely.
If you were in their position and you were them, and then they came to you and said, "We can give you the morning show," would you have taken it? What could they have done different?
What could they have done?
By the way, I liked you better in the afternoon. I love that.
Oh,
show.
that version of the show was great.
Afternoon is better than morning.
I'm tired in the morning. But go ahead. So, what would you have done different if you were them?
I
To
don't-
not fuck.
I would have never
Opie.
been in that position because I was tight with the company. I would have figured something else out because they could have simply done any other shift on the channel. The whole channel was wide open. They didn't need to do that, and it's a terrible position to be in because you know, you got to compete against Howard and everyone else. And I honestly,
Jason Ellis.
I honestly don't have Sirius anymore, but I don't hear any buzz on the show.
I almost didn't have Sirius anymore. I saw they're charging me $20 a month now.
Really?
So I called up and I was like, hey, you fired Anthony, then you fired Opie.
Whoa! Officially, they let me go.
I'm sorry. So you let Opie go.
After a year, I settled all differences with Sirius.
Oh, nice. Congrats. And then I said, and then you fired Nick DiPaolo. You literally have nobody I want to listen to anymore except Jim and Sam. I'm not paying $20 a fucking month for that, so cancel me. And then they broke me down to $5 worth.
I don't know what Sal is talking about. I don't know anything.
That's what I'm
Want to see
telling
the
you.
scar? They gave me the scar from Planet of the Apes.
But speaking of social media, do you know this asshole Sayans Z? His whole show is built on the past of you, Anthony. He's pretty much TMZ for Opie and Anthony universe.
Yeah, I know.
And he's got followers on YouTube, so he's now on the podcast network that we're on.
Oh, really?
So we just talked about, hey, who is this
Oh, I let him
guy?
have it though.
Yeah.
I fucking said he's an asshole.
Mike goes off on him on my podcast, but kidding, saying, oh, he's just a fucking loser. So now he's at war with my podcast, The Slant it's called. That's the show Mike first came on, how we got together. And yeah, I thought maybe you know about it, because apparently he always talks about you, Anthony, what goes on at Compound, and apparently you guys have never spoke or even heard of him.
I have never clicked on any of this stuff.
You hear that, Sayans? I'm actually talking to the real Opie.
I honestly have never clicked on this stuff.
Yeah, but our fans are nuts.
But could you imagine making a show that's completely about talking about Opie and Anthony? That's all his show is. And he has no real knowledge on it because he's never talked to you
Someone
guys.
really close to me told me, or actually they used my real name. They go, Greg, you just got too famous. When you get really famous, there's some weird shit that ends up happening.
No, when I was at Artie's show for 2 years, people would send me gifts in the mail, all kinds of psycho stuff. People would bother my inbox. I'm like, how do people really, huge celebrities like you and everybody else, deal with this? I'm like, but you know what? I'm always cool if I see a fan. Never distant. You know what I mean?
So, Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm having a good time with you here. This is fun because I want to hammer some fucking idiots, really.
And how you doing after your heart attack?
Good. It feels good to be still here.
I was also blamed for your heart attack, by the way.
Why?
No, you
Speaking
know what?
of people having, to just continue. Why? Because he did the Doritos Super Bowl
No,
commercial.
it had nothing to do with it.
You
Because,
got
like,
generalized obesity. It was Opie's fault.
No, but not
You're like
that.
Obama, the way you
No, what happened was, God bless him. Club Soda said to me, he goes, "You're going to have a heart attack." Something like that. He goes, "You got too much anger in you." He goes like this, "You got to chill." I loved him. He was a gentle giant to me. He's like, "Relax, buddy. Take it easy. Do some yoga." I'm like, I'm not a yoga guy. But he tried to chill me down. And then, like I said, I think like 4 days later it happened to me. But you know what, though?
Wait, 4 days after Club Soda Kenny said you were going to have a heart attack, you had one?
No, he was like, what do you call it? Relax. You're going to give yourself a stroke or heart attack.
Yeah. And it happened 4 days
It
later?
happened like 4 days later.
Wow.
And walk me through that. What happened? Because I read
what happened was-
one of the articles out there, and they basically said you laid down on a
Oh.
planter in New York City or something, and waited for the paramedics to show
That's
up.
part of it.
No,
You're
walk me
surrounded
through
by
it.
quarters people
Okay,
got.
what happened was I did a show called The Creepy Corner. These guys are really nice guys, right? Coming home from the city, all of a sudden I got really super tired, like I never would in my life. Started sweating, right? Now, from having a history of heart disease, I know the symptoms, right? All of a sudden, my chest feels like it's on fire. Wow. You can't even move. You can't even move an inch, right? Grab my phone, call 911. And as you know it, the phone was acting up a little bit while I'm calling 911. I'm like, oh no, right? So I called 911. I said I'm at 35th and 6th Avenue, right? I was laying on a plant. I was so I couldn't even move, right? I get there, we get stuck in traffic. The ambulance driver's cursing his ass off in traffic, right? I'm laughing my ass off trying to keep the best of it because I thought it was funny he's cursing his ass off in traffic, right? We get there, right? I get inside the thing. I have a stent right now, right? And I felt when I put the stent on, the doctors like just went off of me like they did with cervical and moved, ripping your clothes off, doing it quick because they got to act fast, right? And I was in the ICU unit for like a day. But ICU felt like the Waldorf Hotel up there, like because I was like, well, red skin potatoes, salmon. I'm like, yeah. Right? hot Asian nurse. I'm like, yeah, baby, this is incredible, right? Then when I got sent to the regular room, I was like, felt like I was in Motel 6 in Indiana, like, they're sending the fucking kitchen staff to see how that's feeling, like 3 hours later, right? And there was some guy who was an old Russian guy that was in a lot of pain. He was screaming his ass off in the middle of the night. You didn't know how close I came to Luca Bracci and him because he had me fucking up all night, right? And I'm an idiot, right? When I got to the hospital, there were all Hasidic Jewish people outside, and I'm like, I think I died when they seen me because I'm like, they are God's chosen people. I'm like half groggy, and I go, wait a minute, I can't be dead because I heard them fighting about hospital bills in the hallway. So then, such idiot that I am, all my doctors came to see me like a couple days, see how I'm feeling, and I said to my doctor, I knew I was safe because you look like Seinfeld. Right? And what I realized was a couple of people with yarmulkes on, and they like kind of laughed and giggled, and I'm thinking they're gonna fucking turn me into a vegetable. Later on tonight, someone will be pulling my plug in the middle of the night. But I kept my composure. I didn't panic. That's why I'm still here. So I'm back in the ambulance. You have all these crazy thoughts going through your head. You're like, I'm thinking to myself, holy crap. In 20 minutes, I might be playing baseball with Babe Ruth for batting practice. Don Big Darrell will be teaching me how to wail on the guitar. Right? Having dinner with Mr. and Mrs. Lincoln. I was having all these crazy thoughts like that going through your head.
I can listen to you forever. I can listen all day. Go ahead, Mike.
And it was incredible but the thing is, I said to God, and the thing, I go, look, if you want to take me back home now, I'm good with this. I said, but if you want to keep me here longer, that's even better.
But I would appreciate it if you kept me here a little longer.
But it's crazy because the diet changed so much. Like when I used to go to to your show right up in Sirius, I'd like have a hot dog and a pretzel and soda to wash it down. Then I'd come back home with a big halo sandwich like this, like a foot-long thing with like melted roast beef, mozzarella, and then like put it in the oven and like finish it down like a gallon of soda. You know what I mean? And, like, and no wonder why my arteries were like this. Is what my arteries were, right? Clogged, 100, 70, and 30.
Jeez.
That's like
You're
almost
lucky.
all the way through.
Right.
Right? And I'm like, but everything is good now. And the thing is, once in a while I'll lay in bed and feel the pain, and I'll be like, feel like I'm going to die like the Godfather, my garden back there, falling to the fig tree.
grabbing a fig.
I'm grabbing a fig like this, screaming my ass off, going. But man, I hope it's like a really like theatrical heart attack, where like I fall and I'm screaming like Vito Corleone.
Well, there's gonna be it'll be different though. You're laying on the ground with a fig next to you, and that yip yip dog's gonna be yipping around your body.
Yeah, I should be like checking my pocket, like
right.
having my wallet in the mouth,
Wondering where its steak is.
I picked up. I met Mike today outside his house, and we were getting ready for you guys to come down here. And he goes, "All right, let's run to the deli to get some waters and stuff for the guys." And he's like, "It's so hot, I couldn't even breathe yesterday." He goes, "I just pictured dying in the garden like Vito Corleone." And I gotta remember, I hang out with Mike. Yeah, he's a bit older. He's had a heart attack. I always forget that. Like when he comes to my house, now that we do the podcast up in the attic, and my wife is like, "Do you realize he's got to walk up all these stairs? What if something happens?" Or I give him a coffee, and he's like,
he gives me like great coffee. It's juiced up like this coffee.
And what if I kill him?
No. But the thing is, like, thanks to you, I didn't realize how young my fan base is. You know what that means in Hollywood? We're in the money. That's what it means because.
Yeah, it looks like you're in the money, Mike.
No. No, but in the long run, when you think about it, right? Sal could be my son. He's super young, right? All his friends are in their 20s, and they know me thanks to you for listening. My fan base is super young. Comics my age are going shopping for lawn furniture.
Sure.
And
I think you share a fan base with the Kardashians. Now that I think about it.
No. They super. I'm serious.
He knows a lot of blacks.
I don't care. Whoever pays the rent.
What's not that?
Do you like the blacks?
Yes.
Okay. I like the blacks too.
Me, I like blacks, Native Americans, Jewish people, cool too, because that's where the casserole is going to come from, and they won't take bullshit from people.
Which group are you
I'm Jewish. I love them.
No, what group don't you like?
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
I don't care. I just don't like assholes.
What were you just telling me?
Oh, yeah, all right. Wow.
Mike doesn't suffer a bully. He hates bullies. I tell you every
Well,
day.
I would like to take bullies and fucking smash things in the ground, and just leave them there.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, no one actually likes a bully, you know?
No, but the thing is, there's different levels of bullies, you know what I mean? Like, when we went to school, our generation people are like, because like, if you got in a fight with somebody and you just fucking popped them in the nose and it was done, right? You tell that to somebody 20-something years old now, like, oh my God, popped them in the nose. Give them a timeout and take them to fucking Dunkin' Donuts. You know what I mean? And not like, they don't get it, you know?
Right. All right, Mike. I think we did it.
I'm so excited. It's gonna be
I
awesome.
think we did it.
And you know
Between
what,
the
though?
tour of the house and sitting down and having Sal drill me like I'm.
That was a full-blown interrogation
No,
by
but
Sal. I've never seen anything like
Sal
that.
has a
It came out
military.
great.
I always say this. Sal has a military mind, different than other people.
I didn't mind anything, trust me. So
But I hope you like my idea because you know what? I think that could be something good.
yeah, where you travel the country, even though you can't walk up a flight of stairs
No, I
and do a
can.
podcast
You know
with
what?
Sal. Yeah, I think it's a
No,
great idea.
no. When it comes to cash, I'll freaking do cartwheels.
Of course you
Can
will.
I say something? And this is going to be really, sound really gay. All right, Mike, can you handle this? As a fan, and then started doing comedy. My dream is, I was like, one day I will sit and I will do radio on Opie's show. And look at this, a dream came true
He
today.
loves you.
Wow.
I'm telling you.
Damn it.
Wow.
But he's a huge fan forever. That's why I brought him here.
I told my boss, I said my wife's pregnant and diabetic. I got to take her to the doctor. And he's like, oh, you do that, and here I am.
Okay. I do have to say to the fan base, the old fan base, you know, I just wish everyone would just kind of get on the same page a little bit.
They don't want to. They
And just
never-
enjoy, you know, what we're able to accomplish.
There goes
during
the
that
fun,
time.
though. If that happened,
They're not happy with
it's
themselves.
It's
It's
reality
what it is.
TV, yo.
Yeah, but you're not going to have me as a big participant in it. I'm moving on and just
No, you
trying
should.
to do
We all
things
should because
and,
I don't
you know,
want to go on the
I
net
even
that much
I even
because
wish
it's
Jimmy
morons.
and Anthony the best.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You know, I mean, whatever. Maybe someday we'll sit down.
I got worried you weren't going to start doing this again when you took a little while to get back.
It was tough. It was tough.
When-
I went through some tough times a year ago. I was shocked when they let me go. It started out as a firing. Now it's officially a let go. I was wandering around for 3 months completely and utterly lost because that's all I know how to do. And then I had to kind of. Now I'm going to sound a little. I had to kind of find myself a little bit, you know. So that's why I was doing a lot of fishing. That's why
Fishing's great,
my
but
social
water's
media was
great for the-
basically.
Great for the brain. The
It was all,
water
it's
flows.
like it's kind of meditative. You should look into meditation, Mike. And then I kind of got myself together with people that I really do care about, my wife and my friends and
great.
and family.
I'm
And
glad you're here. This is so much fun.
and then this opportunity presented itself, and I knew it was time to get back into this.
In radio, you get fired a few times. It happens. As a carpenter, I get laid off every, maybe twice a year. And I know when I come home and tell my wife I'm laid off, she gets very nervous until I get another job. I was always wondering, when you would get laid off, you had not fired, or you had these little stints in between until you got the next gig. Was your wife ever worried, you know what I mean? Like, as a man, I have to provide, so I would always get scared in those moments.
No,
Were you ever worried, or
No,
you
my wife couldn't be cooler. She knows I don't even, radio doesn't define me anymore. There was a time it really, really did. And she's like, we'll be fine no matter what. She knows I like doing this, but she didn't care in the very least. She was only with me for one firing. I've been fired, I don't even know anymore. We're 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, but the best
but
would
I
be
always
fired.
knew.
Sam Castle would have been fired now.
Yeah, I always knew that
Oh, can I ask
there
you
was
one
another
thing?
gig around the corner. But this last time, when Sirius let me go a year ago, I was just plain exhausted and needed.
You needed the break.
just-
There's
Yeah.
one question
Take a
I've been dying to
break.
ask you, right?
Yeah,
Did you ever have Sam Kennison on the show?
dude, I do this because of Sam Kinison.
Oh,
No, but hear me out.
Okay.
Because it's kind of a good story. So I have my mentor is Brother Weeze in Rochester. He, when I heard him coming through the speakers, he's a guy that's a legend in Rochester radio and known in my business big time.
Is he better health-wise? I remember you saying.
Oh yeah. He's
Okay.
7 years old and he's just an animal. He drinks tequila with wine. This guy's an animal for real. He has so much energy. I listen to him every morning thanks to iHeartRadio, through their app. But